Well, it seems that Silksong fans just can't stop winning. It's been a while since I talked about Silksong news because, well, until recently, there just haven't really been any. And, well, recently as in 2-3 months ago, but I do not feel personally that I should be talking about an ARG when I'm not the best kind of person when it comes to these quote-unquote mysteries. And then again, it wasn't even really an ARG. Speaking of which, before we go into everything that's been out throughout this week, let's talk about the cake incident. Because, personally, I just don't think it was really a thing. I think it was just a bunch of coincidences that came together with the date of April 2nd. Now, why exactly April 2nd? Well, because the cake recipe was posted on April 2nd, the direct happened on April 2nd, and something Imagine Dragons, which I'm not even sure why Imagine Dragons was even in this equation. But anyway, they had a tweet last year on April 2nd too. What I think really happened is that it was just a weird teaser for, taking in the fact that we had leaks about the direct reveal on that date, and it was just a teaser for it. The cake date was just like a coincidence. Now, after that, we had the Steam updates, and at some point in between, I haven't actually looked into it, a leak from Xbox. I'm not even sure if it was a reliable leaker, but the Steam updates were a new copyright year, which, keep in mind, Team Cherry haven't manually updated the copyright since 2019. This year, they changed it to 2025, which to me, up until recently, was the biggest thing that told me this game is releasing this year. Now, as for the Xbox leak, it's not really reliable. It's a leak. Take all of those with a grain of salt, but it said something about a June or at least a summer release. Now, speaking of Xbox did talk about Silksong in relation with the summer when they had that article that mentioned 3 other games, 2 of which were releasing in April and then 1 in the summer. So they put Silksong together. Now, this could be a coincidence, or it could mean that, yes, Silksong could be coming sometime this summer. Then, speaking of April 2nd, we had the April 2nd Direct. Before that, we had the Switch 1 Direct, but that was a nothing burger, and to be totally fair, I did think that the April 2nd one was a lot more convincing, specifically because Silksong is a big third-party title on the Switch 2. And Nintendo, looking back at their experience with the Switch, would 100% want to showcase a lot of big third-party titles in the Switch 2 Direct. Because, there were only, 4, possibly 5 first-party titles that they showed, and there were, a ton of third-party stuff they did, including Deltarune, which I'm quite excited for that, not gonna lie. And I did tell the people on the Discord that it would make sense for Silksong to be there, and everyone was like, no, why would Nintendo showcase third-party titles? Well, me ranting out of the way, after this happened, and we got a 2025 release window from Nintendo in that footage, Let's went ahead, retweeted Nintendo's tweet saying that it's coming in 2025, and changed his banner to the new splash art for Silksong, which I think is also going to be changed at some point on Steam, because it looks like a much more polished and finished version of the original splash art that Steam has currently. Then, together with all of this craziness, we got news for the next couple days too, because we got new pictures from a press kit that Nintendo had, which are new pictures. And then a couple days later, the Silksong Japanese store was updated with the new splash art and a bunch of extra pictures. The last week for a Silksong fan was literally insane. So much new content, so many theories, and especially with the Japanese store update, it was weird because if you take a look at now this was already confirmed by Leth that yes, Silksong is coming to both of the Switch consoles. But before Let's respond to this whole debacle, I personally thought that there was something weird going on, because the English page, which was not updated, had Switch 1. well, has the Nintendo Switch family per se. It's both of them. If a game on the Nintendo Switch eShop has Nintendo Switch, it can be played on both consoles. If it has Nintendo Switch 2, it can only be played on Switch 2. There's no like Switch 1 exclusive. But the Japanese page, which was the latest update we knew about, had Nintendo Switch 2. So yeah, as I said, after this, like the next day or sometime in the same day, Les came out and told us that no, Silksong will be coming to both consoles, which, thank you very much, because it was a weird situation. And the latest bit of news, which it's so weird because this actually happened on April 2nd as well. We have the Acme exhibition confirmed to have Silksong. Now, if you don't know what Acme is, it's a video game museum that is based in Australia, right? Which makes the most sense why Team Cherry would want to have stuff show up there. Plus, it already has an exhibit about Hollow Knight. So not only do they already have Hollow Knight, now they'll have Silksong. And why I'm saying they're gonna have Silksong is because, well, if you take a look in the video that they put out, the trailer for this exhibition, Silksong is straight up in there alongside other titles that were confirmed. And we also have this little blurb that talks about a highly anticipated video game from Australia. So with the Acme exhibition having a confirmed date of September, I think it was middle of September or something like that, when can we end up expecting Silksong? What can we expect right now from a release date? Or no, more like theorize about the release date, because I feel like that's an activity that a lot of Silksong fans have been doing throughout the years, and it should be a tradition that should be held up. My personal opinion is that we might be getting some smaller news, like maybe some new pictures and stuff like that throughout April and May, possibly less, maybe not even that, with June 6th being the first time we might get big news, because Summer Game Fest happens on June 6th. Now, there's also the Triple I initiative, but that we know like is pretty much confirmed to not have Silksong, because we've gotten the list of games that appear there, and Silksong was not among them. Now, if they give us a huge surprise and put it there, that's amazing, but I genuinely do not think it's gonna happen. For the next big showcase, being, as I said, Summer Game Fest, what I'm thinking is the game will, or at least shouldn't come out after September. Because, or at least it could come out the day when the exhibition starts. Because there is going to be a special build, so a curated build of Silksong there, but unless that is just a demo build from 2019, or an updated version of it, there will be a lot of things to spoil. For example, if they have concept art, or if they have even like current art, or whatever is playable is going to be new levels that no one's seen before, it would lead to a lot of people spoiling that for the greater internet. And we all know that one of the reasons why Team Cherry is keeping all of this so secretive and so radio silent is because they also don't want us to have too many spoilers. Because they could have given us many enemies, many new areas, and just shown 90% of the things in the game, even just by giving us still images. But they chose not to. So them releasing the game after the exhibit starts makes no sense, because a lot of things would be spoiled. Now, if it is, as I said, a curated build as just a demo, or the demo but updated, it could happen. But I highly doubt it they would put something already known over there. Especially since it's diving deep into how games are made too. So I think a lot more stuff from the current build would make sense. Plus, if it would release after September, Team Cherry would have to put a lot of work into making this curated build, instead of working on Silksong itself, which doesn't really feel like something Team Cherry would do. It feels like Team Cherry would much rather have the game done and then do the curated thing, or just give the game to to Acme and be done with it, with some changes that would be needed for the special build. So this would, in my opinion, put the game to come out before September. Now, again, I could be wrong. This is all purely going on what info we have right now, and straight up theorizing. So then we are narrowed down to between the 6th of June to mid-September, let's say. Well, why 6th of June? Because of Summer Game Fest, and I think with the interest that Summer Game Fest has shown to having Silksong, most likely because they know that Silksong is a huge name right now, it has been consistently at the top at the most wishlisted on Steam, and right now is back up there because whatever game was on first released. And I'm quite certain that Nintendo fans would also want Silksong sooner rather than later. And I think what's going to happen is we're going to have a situation very similar to Hollow Knight, where they revealed the release date 2 weeks to a month before the game came out. This would lead to the game possibly coming out anytime between the 20th of June to 15th of July. Of course, it could go even further. It entirely depends on when exactly Team Cherry wants to press the golden button of giving us the release date. Is it specifically when they have the build and everything properly done, or not? Now, I'm not certain if there's any other big events between Summer Game Fest and the Acme exhibition. There could be E3, but I thought E3 was cancelled at least last year, but I might be entirely wrong. I genuinely don't know for sure. So yeah, in my opinion, going by pure logic, the game could come out at any point between June 20th and September. As I said, there is a possibility the game comes out after September. But I feel like with what I talked about spoilers, alongside Team Cherry not really liking to release games in the latter half of the year, or at least not liking games to be released in the latter half of the year because of the big AAA craze that happens usually around that time, I feel like it's not going to be in the latter half of the year. And with the copyright change on the Steam page, I fully believe that this is going to be a summer release. Because if it's not in the summer, then it would be in the latter half of the year, which I feel like it's not really that likely. And if it's not in the latter half of the year, it would be 2026, which conflicts with the Steam update and the Xbox leak. Again, take leaks with a grain of salt. Yeah, thank you for listening to my rant about the release date. I hope some of these things made sense to you. And well, if you did enjoy the content, why not leave a like, comment, or even subscribe? I want to thank you for watching, and hope to see you all in the next one.